Inflation has risen to its highest level since 2008, and while most people are getting hurt by it, some are profiting. There is an opportunity in every problem. It is important to understand how inflation can be profited from. Taking a look at the lives of the rich will give us an idea of what they do. Yes, rich people. Most of them know how to avoid extra tax, how to make money with debt, and how to profit from inflation, which is why they are rich. Hello guys, it's Melisandra. I'm not a financial advisor, just an individual that is always curious about strategies and tips to generate more income. I do my research and share with you what I find. Please note that the following content is intended for informational purposes only and should not be construed as financial or investment advice. Assets that offer both inflation protection and the potential to generate long-term profits can help protect your personal finances from the loss of purchasing power. Here are a few examples. 1. T.I.P.S. Inflation-linked investments such as inflation-linked bonds are one solution. T.I.P.S. stands for Treasury Inflation Protected Securities, and it is used by the U.S. government. A government bond with a coupon linked to the Consumer Price Index is essentially a regular bond. Inflation in consumer prices is measured by the CPI, which grew 7.9% last month from a year ago. Due to their link to inflation, T.I.P.S are a very powerful tool in a high inflationary environment since they offer protection that normal bonds cannot. Suppose, for example, you bought $10,000 worth of T.I.P.S and the CPI increased by 5%. Then your coupon would also increase by about $500. A deflationary period occurs only when the economy is in recession. However, the opposite is also true. Despite T.I.P.S not being a flashy cryptocurrency solution that guarantees higher gains, it remains a good safe solution with little risk. It guarantees you at least keep up with inflation as indicated by official figures, and it is backed by the US government. Additionally, Series I bonds purchased from the Treasury are inflation indexed like T.I.P.S. I-band returns are composed of two components. You have two different types of returns, a fixed rate and a component based on inflation and, specifically, the Consumer Price Index. Each 6-month period, I-bond interest rates are adjusted for inflation. When you redeem I-bonds, you pay tax on the interest at your ordinary tax rate, not on the tax-deferred interest. 2. Real estate. As inflation rises, real estate becomes a more useful and popular store of value while generating higher rents. A real estate investment trust or specialized fund can be purchased by investors directly or indirectly. It was particularly profitable for real estate during persistent inflation in the 1970s. However, rising interest rates and financial crises can also negatively affect real estate, as we saw in 2007 to 2008. Inflationary conditions usually lead to higher interest rates. 3. Debt. Considering how risky and controversial debt is, it is not surprising that it has been criticized. Your financial life can be destroyed or made extremely rich by it. Even though it is technically not an asset, it can still be a great tool if you use it to acquire the right assets that appreciate in value. In an environment with high inflation, debt can be a great asset when used responsibly. In particular, I'm talking about debt that's healthy and low interest, and which can be easily accessed and allocated to appreciating assets like a mortgage or a business loan. Margin trading loans or credit cards are not allowed. Debt in these circumstances is beneficial because as inflation rises and the dollar loses purchasing power, your mortgage payments become less of a burden. To put it into more practical terms, there are 3 different ways to understand why that is. Number 1. You earn more but make the same amount of debt payments. Despite inflation exceeding 4%, even if your salary rises by just 3-4%, debt still makes money for you. Due to the fact that your mortgage payment is the same each month, unlike your salary, it takes up a smaller and smaller percentage of your income as you earn more and more. You're effectively paying less for your mortgage if your income goes from 100K to 104K, but your mortgage remains at 20K. Number 2. The value of your house increases over time, but your debt payments remain the same. I'm sure you've seen where this is headed if you've tried to buy a home in the last couple of years. When you purchase your property with debt, you also benefit from the 8% inflation when you sell it, since housing prices in big cities are rising at almost double digits every year. 3. Furthermore, if you use debt to purchase a rental property, your tenant's rent could increase while your mortgage payments remain the same. As home values go up with inflation, so does your potential rent, but not the cost of the home you finance over 30 years. Obviously, this doesn't mean you should drop everything and get a second mortgage. When there is high inflation, however, no interest debt such as the one we have today is a valuable tool. What are the reasons behind the loose monetary policy of central banks? As a result, it also helps governments pay down their debts that have accumulated over the past few years. 4. During inflationary periods, commodities tend to shine. Prices and commodities don't correlate exactly, but certain hard assets have historically been favored by inflation. The first thing that comes to mind is precious metals, particularly gold and silver. With coins and bullion bars, you can hold precious metals directly, but you can also invest indirectly through ETFs that hold gold. Stocks of gold mining companies or funds that own these stocks can also be invested in. The metal itself, however, is not present in these stocks. Furthermore, they tend to be extremely volatile even during periods of high gold prices. Stocks and funds related to energy are likely to be more predictable. The primary driver of inflation is often rising energy prices, which is especially important in inflationary environments. Money loses value as a result of inflation, despite the fact that it may ease debt burdens. It often harms consumers and investors. Inflation does not always adversely affect some types of investments. In fact, there are several types of investments that actually gain during inflation. In some cases, there are tangible assets, such as real estate and commodities. Inflation-indexed government bonds have a similar advantage. Over time, as the Federal Reserve eases its monetary policy and raises interest rates, inflation rates are expected to fall. However, that will take some time. It is important to reposition for now. In these runaway inflationary times, a few investments that excel in inflationary environments can help your portfolio survive and perhaps thrive. Okay guys, thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel for more future updates. And I will see you soon.